This is Sunnyfied Side Live, or should I say Sports Legends Live. And we are very thankful to have a friend of mine from a long time, the legend, the worthy re-roll legend, Dennis Brantley. And for those of you all who do not know, he was an All-American hurdler, and we're gonna discuss that. We're gonna discuss track in general. We're gonna discuss growing up in Hillwood, Sunnyside, and we're gonna discuss a whole lot. But I'm gonna turn it over to my partner, Jeff Walker, to start the exploration of questions.
Dennis Brantley, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Thank y'all for having me here today. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. My name is Jeff Walker. I graduated in '80 from Jack Yates with guys like Michael Young and guys like that. I don't know if you remember those names, and General Taylor and you know, Reggie Phillips and Elvis Patterson. I don't know if you remember those names, but those are the guys I came out with.
Yeah,
and so
me
quite
and Reggie,
naturally,
me and Reggie went to SMU together.
Oh, great, great. Well, anyway, when I got down to PV, my freshman roommate was a guy by the name of Derek Terry. I understand you played with him at Worthing?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Okay. Well, Derek, yeah, he was my roommate. So I heard about Worthing almost every night. And so that was so I know you. I know you. Anyway, 37 years coaching career, outstanding. I understand you retiring at the end of the school year. You're over at Elkins. You've been there since 2008. You're the head football coach as well as the athletic coordinator. Grad of Worthing in '80. Outstanding, man. You have done it all, my brother. You set the school record for the 110 meter hurdles. You set the state record at 13.34, which is still holds today. You were unbeaten your junior year in the 110 hurdles. You only lost one race in the high hurdles that junior year. And then your senior year, you didn't lose any races. So I'm like, my goodness, my brother, you had it going on. So with that, all that being said, my question to you is this. What was the most memorable sporting achievement that you achieved at Worthing? What was the most memorable?
I would say it was my senior year, when I broke the state record. Something that I in junior high, I set that goal in junior high. When I set the state record, I remember all the people there and shattering the record and the excitement that I had, excitement my family had, excitement that the crowd had. They just couldn't believe that someone ran that fast. And sometimes on this day, sometimes I don't believe I ran that fast.
Okay. All right. Now you left Worthing in '80. My question now is, when it came downtime to recruiting, how did that process go as far as you making the determination on what school you want to take your talents to?
Well, of course, I had a lot of offers, and you know, at that time I was very naive to a whole lot of things, and I kind of let my Coach Brown, my head track coach at Worthing, really kind of direct me. You know, and because I was just all I wanted at that time, all I wanted to do was just run. Gotcha. And so, if in retrospect, I wish I could have, you know, thought about it more and been more hands-on. But the person that treated my mom the best, that was Coach Ted McLaughlin at SMU. Okay. He treated when I say they all were respectful, but my mom seemed to like him the most. Okay. And you know, I had a close relationship with my mom. Didn't have a dad. Dad was killed when I was young age. So anything my mom was like, I liked. So that's probably the reason why I picked SMU.
Gotcha. Now you were at SMU. Did you stay all 4 years at SMU, or did you transfer?
I stayed 2 years and left there and went to Texas Southern University.
Gotcha. Now, what was that experience like going from SMU to Texas Southern? How did you feel about that?
Well, you know, at that time, you know, the way I was raised, I was comfortable with anyone. That was even going to SMU. That was the first time that I was not around predominantly African Americans. You know, I think at that time SMU probably about maybe 1 or 2% African Americans, and 99% of them was athletes. Okay. So, you know, my focus was on athletics. I don't feel like that I experienced the school experience as much. Okay. At Texas Southern, I felt when I did transfer there, you know, they didn't have as many facilities and amenities that SU had, but at the same time, you know, I came from Worthing High School, so I could deal with anything.
I know that's right. Sunny side. As a high school football coach, I understand you have sent several players to the NFL level. My question now is, and I know this could be a tough question because I know you sent several athletes to the NFL level. My question is, who would you say was your best athlete that you've sent to the NFL?
Let's see, man, that is a tough one. Let me, you know, it has to be between I would say Kenneth Murray, because he was a first rounder, you know,
Okay.
and I had him from freshman all the way through the senior year. Some of my, you know, the early ones I didn't, but I had him freshman all the way through senior year. So I would have to say Kenneth Murray, because I just saw the way he grew as a young man and as a football player.
Okay, gotcha. What about Tyrone Smith? How would you rank him?
Oh man, Tyrone Smith was, you know, even though I was young at the time, I think I started coaching Tyrone at McCullough Middle School when he was in 7th or 8th grade. And and as he went to high school, I went to high school. So I coached him from 8 all the way to senior year. And I would say about Tyrone, he was my favorite. I shouldn't say that, but my favorite because he was like a son to me. And even today, he called me, you know, once a week, check on me. He would still meet up. You know, when I was as a head coach at Elkins, he would come and do FCA, come and talk to my athletes, come and did devotional for us for game day. So I had a very special relationship with Tyrone Smith. Just I was in every decision that he made in his life from 8th grade on. I was a part of it. Okay,
sounds good, man. Now, you was at Elkins since 2008. You was offensive coordinator 2008 through 2010, head coach in 2011, and you've been 2011 head coach since then. And you made the playoffs 7 out of 12 seasons. And your best season was what? 2013, 10-3. Would you say that's a good recap?
That is just about it. By the way, I retired in June of this summer. I retired in June.
Oh, you already retired. Okay.
Me too.
I retired in June, and that was a memorable year, 2013, and you know, we played the 3rd round against Katy in front of about 45,000 people, and you know, for 3 quarters we had them beat. We just didn't have nothing left for the 4th quarter. Had a quarterback named Jonathan Giles that was really special. You know, and by the way, I was a head coach before that at Fort Bend Marshall. From 2004 to 2007.
Okay, gotcha. Now that's right down the street from me. I have one other question, then I'm gonna let Carl take over. Your retirement plans. Anything you want to talk about as far as your retirement plans? Because I know I retired 4 years ago, and Carl just recently retired. So, what are your retirement plans?
Well, one thing that me and my wife are doing, we've been visiting many NFL stadiums as possible. You know, like that's something, because I never had a whole lot of opportunity to travel or to take vacation. What'd you say?
I said, tell Penny I said hi.
All right, I will. I definitely will. But yeah, so we went to, you know, we do a lot of things with our grandkids. You know, getting grandkids are athletes, and we visit a lot of NFL teams. You know, we into the Raiders and a few other teams. That's one thing I said I want to visit every NFL stadium and game that I possibly can.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, Carl, I'm gonna go ahead and let you take it from here.
All right, I thank you. Do you still watch track and keep up with track?
I do. I keep up with track. You know, for a while I was a head football coach and a head track coach for a good while. So it's still in my blood. And my grandkids, I have 2 grandkids that have been to the Nationals probably 4 straight years. We went to Oregon this year, and they both of them ran really well. So I'm definitely still in the track, still keep up with all the recent events and new training techniques and everything.
Hey, can you believe what that boy from, where is he? He beat Roger Benjamin. He ran a 45.9 in the intermediate hurdles. Did you see that? Can you believe that?
Well, you know what, 10 years ago, that's unheard of, you know, because you got a lot of guys that are world class that struggle to run a 45 flat in the open floor.
Yes.
So that's amazing. It's just let you know that with the right training and the right coach, with some blessings and luck, you can just about do anything. You know, of course, you got to have that ability, but you just got to be willing to sacrifice and willing to push yourself to that limit. Because that's still, even when I think about it, I still don't seem real that a guy can run that fast.
45.9 in the intermediate hurdles. Are you kidding me?
Right.
I mean, that's when me and my dad, you remember my dad, we used to always watch track. We used to watch track. He was into it. We go to the Texas relays, Texas Southern relays, went to the Penn relays one time. So we would travel and go to track meets and so forth. And he would have just enjoyed that. As well as we enjoy the 800, 1500, 3000 meters. Track is my favorite sport, always has been. So what do you think about the track athletes, United States, compared to the other athletes? How are we doing? Now, we have won the 4x4 for the last main years, but other countries are catching up in track and field, just like they are in basketball. What do you see as the status of world track? Who's going to do well in the Olympics?
Well, first of all, I think that's good for track and field that, you know, the other countries are closing the gap with America in some events beating us. But you got to also understand that 90% of those athletes from other countries are trained or go to universities in the United States of America. So they're still getting the training here. So I don't think that, you know, not nowhere in the near future that anybody will ever beat us in the 4x4. We just got too much depth. But I think that the track and field is on an all-time high.
But the 4x1, they've already beat us in it. Italy beat us. And, you know, so, and of course, you know, the 4x1, as well as sometimes other events that are sticks. If you don't do that stick right, you out of it.
Right. And sometimes those other countries, they got 4 guys that they're gonna work with the whole time. Though, see, our problem is that we can't get that consistency with the 4x1 because it might be you don't never know. It might be 4 guys the next week. It might be 4 other guys. So the only way to be consistent, you know, we wanted this year, but the only way to be consistent with the 4x1, we got to get 4 to 6 guys, and these are the guys that's going to run this relay. And that way is just like anything else. They get that consistency. They know each other. They know how each other get out. They know how each other put their hand back. And so now you have less chance of mistakes happening. Because the only way we're getting beat now is when we're not hitting the stick right.
Exactly.
So when we were back at James H. Law, did you think this was the road we was on? And let me also say, I'm glad to be here. I miss my friend, Johnny Johnson, who's not here anymore. And you went to Law Elementary. Did you believe that this was the road we was on? And are you okay with how things have gone? And do you have any regrets?
Well, you know, I'm definitely think that you know, during our generation, we just had so many people that had dreams and goals and were willing to pursue those goals. You know, we didn't have as many distractions. There's always distractions, but as many distractions kids have today. But no, I don't have any regrets. I used to have regrets. I didn't make the Olympic team. I just kept getting hurt. But then again, I thought about, you know, God has a reason for everything. I wouldn't coach for 37 years. I probably wouldn't touch as many lives and got as many kids to college, university on football and track scholarship, as well as professional football and stuff like that. If I would have got those dreams that I wanted, which was playing pro football, running professionally track for a long time in the Olympics, you know, so I'm at this point in my life, I'm grateful and thankful for the way things went. Wouldn't change anything.
I'm right with you on that and so forth. And, you know, hindsight, of course, is 2020, but we have to be thankful and appreciative of what we have today.
Yes.
Have you went back to Worthing and checked on some of the things that I went back to Sterling, and it's totally different. And I told him I was from 1980, And of course, they looking at me like I'm ancient. And I'm saying, wait a minute, I'm not that, but that's how it's looked at. And it just was yesterday, seemed like, when those thoughts were coming. When I was, first of all, did I ever beat you running on a Law Elementary? Did I ever? I think I might have beat you one time. I don't remember completely, but I know I used to race you. And I had the moves in football, we was running, but you had moves too. But I had moves similar. I was talking to Derek Terry, and he was still talking about how I used to put the moves down in elementary school and so forth. Those were the days. Those were the fun days and so forth. I don't know whether I beat you, but I know we had fun back in those days.
We did. We did.
We played back in the day on the football field, and we ran around, and we just enjoyed ourselves. Kids, they don't play as much today, it seems like. With the internet and all this social media and quick stuff, it takes away from them being able to grow. And I think that's a lot of the problems we have in society. And so they don't get as much as we get, but they get different things. We talked about the NIL earlier. Can you share your opinion on the positives and negatives of that?
Well, I mean, the positives that kids can be able to help themselves and help them families a lot sooner than have to wait 3 or 4 years of college or wait professionally. So I like that fact. The negative is that you have too much focus on it, and from families and parents and relatives, with the fact that now they can't focus on the job at hand, which has been the best athlete they can. You're trying to get something before you reach that goal. You're not even there yet. So you have kids, high school kids, acting like pro athletes, and you don't have a dime. You haven't made it yet. So you have to have that nice balance where you want to get that NIL deal. There's nothing wrong with that, but it can't be more important than you just enjoying being in high school and being the best you possibly can be. Because I always say, if you are the best you possibly can be, you reach that highest level, the money will come. But and also negative is that you can't build what I call that those days when we were at Worden High School and Sterling High School and Yates High School, where the community and the team and the players love each other. It was a true team. It was a true team, it's a true community thing. Now you got guys that might be there for 1 year, they go on the next year. And so you don't develop what we had a community. When I was a pretty good athlete in Worden High School, all of community know me. And I felt that support. You had that camaraderie, that brotherhood, that true brotherhood. That's the negative of NLI deal, is that is messing that camaraderie, that brotherhood up. You don't develop that team chemistry. You really don't develop teams anymore. You just got a bunch of individuals that are gunslingers. So it takes the coach to be able to bring them together and let them know what's the most important thing.
As I said earlier, yes, you have areas where they can mess up. They got so much available. However, back in the day when we were just going to college, it was still those big universities monopolizing our talent, our skill, and making billions of dollars off of it. And then they could cast us to the wayside if we got hurt. So that is so important to have that particular change available to us today. And in the track area, it's important. Well, NIL does not necessarily relate to track, but NIL relates, of course, to basketball and football and maybe some of the other sports. But they have professional track per se. Did they have that when you were coming along?
Yeah, they did, but you couldn't do it until you either did your 4 years of college, or you dropped out of college. You got hot, had a great year, and then you took a professional deal. And the money wasn't as good as it is today, because a lot of guys, you don't have, at that time you had to be number 1 or 2 in the world, or at least the top 5 to make money. I mean, real good money. Now you can be in the top 50 in the world, and sometimes top 75 and make really good money. I had some I had some sponsorship and back in my day, and what I got mostly was just material, sweats, tennis shoes, spikes, stuff like that. I never really I made a little money, but never got to the point where you was making millions of dollars. So right now you can make millions of dollars not being number one. And I said, I like the NIL idea because you got to protect the athlete. There's too many athletes back in the day that had great careers and have nothing to show for it. And that's not right. And that's not good because, like I said, the university monopolized all the money. And when a guy's career was over with, it was over with. You get nothing.
Yeah, that is totally exploitive and unfair. And something had to change about it. Now, only thing I can say is if the families don't help regulate their child, maybe some regulation can come in that keeps their money coming in, but gives them some guidelines, some limits where they can still be community oriented and get their education also. So we'll see how that goes. And, we'll see how that happens. We had a lot of people back in the day, elementary school, junior high school, that were able to grow and do different things. We went to, did you go to Southeast Little League?
Yeah, I did. I played for the Dolphins.
Okay. Well, we had a whole lot of people that came through that environment, and we don't have that as much today. They don't have little leagues that I know of per se, and things happen. And that was a part of community. But back in the day, we had people who were Lawrence. Lawrence was a major athlete in Southeast and learned a whole lot. My brother Lawrence Allen. And
yes.
He played baseball, football, everything. Roderick Wise, a whole lot of people learned through that system. Edgar Jones, they learned through that system. Terrence Spellman, they learned through that system. Will we ever go back to a community-oriented little league system, or is that a thing of the past? And what can we do to help our kids grow more today in sports?
Well, unfortunately, there's still a community-based little league football team, but they're mostly in the suburbs, and so they still, because when I was a head coach at both schools, I made sure that I always had some little league team that could practice and play on our campus. So it's the leagues are still strong, a little different, but they still strong. They still got a league in the Southeast area, because I've seen them play. I just think that it's very important, like you mentioned before, that kids need to get involved early to keep them off of the phones. You got to monitor the phones. You got to monitor social media.
I don't know about you, but I tried to take my daughter's phone, and that was a knockout, drag out fight, and I lost that one. But that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
These kids have different things that interest them. We didn't have all those particular things, the internet, phone, cell phone. I was glad to get a page. I was glad to get a page. So Dee, I want to go into some of the things we talked about on a regular show about the state of sports. The Texans are doing good, and CJ Stroud is a lot better than I thought he was. How do you think the Texans are doing? How do you think they're going to end up?
First, I'm very proud and happy with the direction they're going. I thought CJ Stroud is doing a great job, but the head football coach is doing an excellent job. They're in every game, and I think that they will have a chance to make the playoffs. It's going to be tough, but they're going to win more than 6-7 games. I'm hoping they win 8 games, but the future is really bright for the Texans. I love the way the defense plays, love the way the quarterback playing. And so sometimes it just takes the right person in charge, in this case, the head football coach, that put everything together and had a relationship with the players. So I'm very excited about the Texans.
Well, thank you for that. The Astros didn't make it this year, but they got very close. What do you see as the legacy of Dusty Baker?
Man, he's definitely first ballot Hall of Fame. You know, with the, you know, I don't know how many years he played baseball as a player, but I know it's over 20 years and 26 years as a head baseball coach. Then to be into 2 World Series back to back and win one, man, hey, many people would love to have this career.
Yeah, pretty good. I think we were very fortunate to have him at the end of his career, and he gave a very good character representation for a Black man in baseball all his time that he was there. And that's why he's attained this level. And I don't know if we'll see that opportunity for a Black, because today, most of the Black players are from, you know, other countries, of course, not American Blacks. So we'll see how it turns out, but I like that representation. What is your opinion on what Deion Sanders is doing in Colorado, and will he eventually be an NFL coach?
Well, I'll tell you, man, there's something about Deion that's special, you know, and he'll tell you it's the Lord, but he's special. Everywhere he goes, he brings the, you know, the buzz, the crowd, the love, it's just the money, you know, and the wins. So, man, I'm really pulling for him. You know, I just hope that they at least just get to a bowl game. And they blew a game a couple of weeks ago that they should have been easy. But that's sports, you know. The games that you're supposed to win, sometimes you don't win. But I'm hoping I can see him staying there until his son graduate. But I see him in the NFL, and you know, and at least I know he's not going to run soon, but I can see him in the NFL in 5 years from now.
Yeah, I can see that too. So that's what I was saying. When his son finishes, that should be the time when you know, I could see Cowboys, Tampa Bay, some of those other teams saying to, hey, let's bring this guy on and see if he can do the same things.
Yeah.
So sports in Houston has always been a mainstay. When we grew up, we had the Astros that we listened to on the radio and so forth. They never got to the aspect of winning like they get now, but that's what we grew up on. The Astros, Jose Cruz, Jim Wynn, Cesar Cedillo, the Oilers. Before Warren Moon, it was Dan Pastorini and Earl Campbell and so forth, Ken Burrow. So we grew up on sports and we was right there. And of course, we had the time when it was Calvin Murphy and Mike Newland, Rudy T, then Moses Malone. That was even before Akeem Olajuwon. So we were out there in the hood, shooting, running, playing. And where I grew up, which is right there on Marchant, what street did you grow up on?
Oh, Scott Street.
Okay, in the back?
And way in the back was the last street in Hillwood with no through traffic. Malvo stayed by you? They stayed about 8 houses down the street from me.
Okay, all right. Well, from our neighborhood, we have learned, we have grown, and some of us have went on to, you know, great things that we didn't imagine when we were young. But I do want to give a shout out to some of the ones that's not here anymore, Brother Malvo, Brother Johnny Johnson, and a few more. Is there anything that you would just like to share as a father, grandfather, sportsman, Houstonian, community support person? Anything you would like to share?
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on the show, and I just think that, you know, this is good for the community, it's good for our neighborhood, good for reminisce of the good old days of athletics. But I think that we as parents and grandparents, we just need to continue to pour into our grandkids to make sure that they don't go backwards. I think our parents did a great job of putting us in a position where we can be successful. I think we need to do the same thing, because right now it's so easy, because kids got so much and we don't think they need other things, but they need those other things. And we need to make sure we continue to pour into our kids and our grandkids while we can.
Yes, every day is a battle. Every day is we have to battle the peer pressures and the social pressures that they encounter. And that's a lot different than what we had to encounter. Again, we didn't have social media, internet, all of those things that move so quickly into our children and community mind. Jeff, do you have more questions that you would like to ask as we are finishing up?
No, I think you've done an outstanding job, Carl. You've covered it all. I'm just happy to be here, to have a chance to speak with my boy, Dennis Brantley, although he doesn't know me, but because I roomed with Derek Terry as a freshman at PV, man, I know him. Trust me, I know him. Because Derek, all he did was talk about Worthing. Oh, yeah. I'm telling you, it was like I was taking another class sitting there. So, hey, I'm just happy to have you on the show, Dennis. Anytime you want to come back on the show, you're welcome. If you want to come back and be a panelist while we're talking sports, anything you would like to do, just let us know. We would love for you to come on and be on the show anytime you want.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And,
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
We are toward the end of our show, and we thank you very much. And back in the day, back at Law Elementary, I didn't know what direction I was going to go in. I'm glad for the job my parents did, and I'm glad to be at this stage of my life. I'm appreciative. I'm very thankful, and I'm glad to be here, and I thank you for being here. And we're going to close up our show a little early, and we thank you, and we look forward to next time. And I'm going to be talking to you about coming back, being a panelist, all of those particular things. So for Sunny Side Live with Jeff Walker and Sports Legends Southwest, this is Baruti Carl Alexander. That's Jeff Walker. That's our spotlight guest, Dennis Brantley, All-American Dennis Brantley. We thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.